It's 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Yahoo! Hello, everybody. How are you guys? It's Thursday, almost the end of the week. Thank goodness for that. Focus, camera, focus. Kind of focused. Today, I want to talk about sticky situations with bandmates, co-writers, ex-wives, ex-husbands, and ex-friends. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, I want to say hello to the folks in the chat room. Nancy Clell, Ronnie Baird, Marion Lair, Martin Gravel, Cass McKenty, Terrell Beckless, John Pearson, Ewert Williams, Peter Rahill, Dan Weber, Buffalo Bob, Andre Stepanian, Darren Fletcher, Cass McKenty, Nancy Callell, Chris Anderson. I think I got everybody there. Anyway, God, it look like I'm not all that in focus at the moment. Am I? I can't tell. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. If I'm a little fuzzy, so be it. So before we get into that other stuff, I have a couple of fun things to check out. Cass, I couldn't help but think of you. One of our daughters that lives in Israel yesterday went hiking near the Sea of Galilee. She was literally out in the mountains, and look what she ran into, just wandering around those mountains. Little goats. How cute, huh? Let's see if I've got any more goat shots in there. Here's what the Sea of Galilee looks like from up in the mountains looking down. Here's a goat getting curious with a camera. Or a cell phone, I would imagine. It's my daughter on the left, a friend of hers that she went hiking with on the right. Holy goats, there you go. They literally just stumbled upon them. Oh, that's weird. When I hold this up, I get... come on, focus. There we go. Green screen issues with the phone up there. Anyway, so that's that. And now, blue-eyed goats. Yeah, goats are awesomely cute. They really are. And tons of personality. What else do I want to show you? Okay, I want to see if anybody can guess what this is before we start talking about weird legal situations with ex-bandmates, ex-songwriting partners, ex-wives, ex-husbands, ex-friends, all that stuff. Let's look at this image and see if you guys... I will tell you that it's from a Roman ruin in Israel, in the central part of the country, not too far, actually. I took this picture not too far from where my daughter was hiking yesterday. Let's see if you guys can figure out what that is. You'll laugh when you find out. I actually had an A&R meeting this morning, and I showed them that picture, and I said, all right, if anybody can tell me what this is, you get a free lunch. And Tom blurted it right out, and I didn't realize till the meeting was over. I think I showed him this picture once before. Whoa, Cass McKenty. Maybe you are on it today, dude. Yes, it is a Roman pupatorium. This is from... No, it's not the wailing. Well, some people might have been wailing. Like if they had a piece of funky food, they were probably wailing when they sat down there. The original organ pedal template. Yeah, I can't believe you guys knew that was a toilet. It's in a archaeological dig at a place called Beit Shan, kind of near the Sea of Galilee in Israel, central part of the country, kind of north central-ish. And it used to be a Roman city of about 60,000 people, I believe. I've been there many, many times over a 20-year period, and we go back like every other trip when we go there because they keep uncovering more stuff. So last time we went to this place was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, And I looked at that thing. I had no idea what it was till I read the little plaque. Time you were in the UAE, you've seen similar. Yeah. So could you imagine, it's like you got to go to the bathroom and you go pop a squat on this thing out in public, like next to anybody, and people are walking by. Nobody pays it a second thought. And then it occurred to me, they didn't have toilet paper back then either. So the whole bathroom experience was quite different. Let's see, this would have been, I forget when Beit Shan was around, but I think it was roughly 2,000 years ago. I believe it was around the time of Christ. It was for men and women. And yeah, Group Poop. There you go. Pat Wara. That's a good name for a band. Group Poop. Prototype for future MIDI keyboard. Yeah. Anyway, fascinating, huh? Let's see what else we've got here today. It's photo day at Taxi Quarantini Happy Hour. All right. This, I took that shot with my cell phone. Check that out. Not shabby, huh? Handheld cell phone. No tripod, no nothing. That too, that too was in Israel. That is the marina in the city of Herzliya, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv. Anyway, I just thought that was so pretty that I couldn't. We were like walking to dinner, walking one of our daughters back to her car, whatever we were doing, and walked by there and said, "Hold up!" Whipped out the phone and snapped that shot. Yes, I held the camera very steady. That's it. I didn't change any settings. That was on autofocus. Pat Wara was there in Herzliya. Oh, for techie stuff. Yep, cell phone shot. What kind of fish do you catch there? Not much. I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed, Andre, at the fishing situation over there. A lot of mullet wherever you go in Israel. A lot of mullet, and they eat mullet like crazy. In Florida, they won't touch mullet. It's considered kind of a garbage fish. Whatever the fish are in the Sea of Galilee, I forget what they're called, some form of perch or something. That shiz is everywhere, and it's like, it's okay. I have checked out the saltwater fishing situation. It's not great, gotta say. I've looked at it several times. I personally like backwater, inshore, light tackle, casting plugs and what have you, in like places where there aren't boats and people. That's what I like doing. And there's not a lot of that in Israel. There are some guys that fish freshwater stuff, almost like brackish water fishing over there in these canal type things. Not easy, though. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up here on the thing. I don't know. It's not overfishing. It's just the number of species that they've got. Holy mackerel, yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's see if you guys recognize this one. Now that I'm back at the office, and I may end up staying here permanently, I don't know, it's starting to feel like things. The parking lot's about 80% full at the office, so people are definitely coming back to their respective offices. There's one fairly large small company. I would say they've got 30, 40, 50 people working there that is below us in our office. There are 3 buildings in our complex. It's like an office park situation. And I think everybody else is back except it's like one of those tax group things where if you owe $20,000 or more in back taxes, contact us. Yeah, that is the gopher's backyard, although I found another round of coyote poop in the backyard. So clearly our coyote friend is visiting again, and there's fur in that poop. So it's either rabbit hair or gopher hair. Yeah, one of these is Shirelli. Let's see if I can. Let's see. That one right there, I believe, is Rob's house. I was going to do an interior shot with my halo. Unfortunately, the guys that are replacing the granite in the kitchen and the backsplash and all that stuff, they were very nice and put down a big runner of that heavy duty construction paper between the front door and the kitchen so that they wouldn't mess up our floor. Thank you, Jim Stamper. Yeah, not a bad view, gotta say. We love looking at that mountain. My wife on a Saturday will spend 80% of her day, unless it's like brutally hot or brutally cold, the majority of her day out there just lounging, reading a book, thumbing through magazines and catalogs, just looking out at that mountain. And this skinny tree, how do I get there? There, that tree right there. There's a hummingbird that I've noticed lately that sits at the top of this tree on an empty branch endlessly. He will be up there like 80% of any given day. That hummingbird sits up there. When I fly my drone in the backyard, the hummingbird comes down and hovers near the drone. It's pretty cute. Yeah, the mountains are pretty special. Yeah, on the other side of those mountains is beautiful Santa Monica. Well, technically not Santa Monica, more like Malibu. It's probably like 10 miles over the mountain. What level of cell phone do you have to take such crystal clear pictures? Why, I will tell you. That shot was actually taken years ago, and that was taken with a Samsung S6 Curve. And now, somebody's been trying to call me. Now I have a Samsung S9, which is, I don't know, at least a couple of years old. I'm not like a big, I got to have the latest, greatest cell phone. I think that they're way overpriced. Yeah, I can't force myself to spend $1,000 or more on a cell phone, so I wait until the prices come down and then they run some sort of goofy special. And yeah, so like I said, this phone's at least a couple of years old, but the cameras are really good in Samsungs. Half of my family's got Apples, half of us have Samsungs, and I have noted over the years that the Apple phone owners are always saying, "Oh, that picture looks so amazing." So there you go. Okay, so 2 incidents have popped up in recent memory. And by the way, for those of you who are watching the Quarantini Happy Hour for the first time, this is an informal hang that we do on Tuesday and Thursday. It's not the regular Taxi TV show. So we don't necessarily jump right into the topic. So please don't post any comments about, I can't believe that dude talks about stuff like his backyard. I came there to learn about, the music industry. Well, it's a hangout. We're all friends. We invite you to be one of our friends. Just get used to the hang. The real education happens on Monday, 4 o'clock, same channel. And by the way, if you're watching today's show and you haven't subscribed yet, please click that red button, and you can click that sucker to get yourself an alert when we go live, and you can click that and we'll send a pizza to your house. I'm lying. We won't. We'll be grateful, though. Anyway, so about 3-4 months ago, I got an email from a lady taxi member, a former taxi member. It's funny how these are always former taxi members, saying that some guy, now I didn't ask a lot of questions. She didn't go into any depth. My own guess is that it was somebody that she performed live with, somebody that she worked in the studio with, a collaborator of the male variety, that much I knew. And that they were no longer collaborating in any way, shape, or form, but I have a feeling they may have been collaborating on more than music. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not casting any judgments or asparagus because it's not really relevant to the conversation. There was some entwining, and when they became disentwined, apparently one party, Party A, the lady person, got really cranky with Party B, the dude person, because the dude was putting music up that they had done together that had her voice on it. And I believe she was the songwriter on it. And she said, Taxi, you have to take it down from his account. And we said, we can't take stuff down off of his account unless you have something that tells us to. We can't just have one member or former member call and say, hey, another former member who I used to collaborate with has something on their thing that they shouldn't have, on their member profile that they shouldn't have, and you need to take it down. If you provided us with a letter from your attorney, a snapshot or a scan of the copyright registration, anything that gives us some proof that that is yours and not theirs over there, we'd be happy to accommodate you. But we can't just take everybody at their word. And frankly, somebody once offered, we've had this situation pop up a couple times a year. Somebody said, well, I'll send you the contract between myself and the other party. It's like, no, we are not in the business of resolving legal disputes. But if somebody else can kind of force a resolution and send us a document, like I said to this lady, have your lawyer send us a cease and desist or a takedown order. We'll comply, but, attach a copy of the copyright registration. So, yo, Hanson, welcome to the show, buddy. So that was one thing. And then like 8 months later, this lady, I told her, I said, she said, I'm going to have my attorney contact you. I said, great, please do. 8 months later, she sends me an email. It was very terse, saying, you have not complied with my wishes and blah, blah, blah. Do I need to get heavy-handed with you? In so many words. And I wrote back and I said, look, by the way, I noticed that you copied your attorney on there. I happen to know your attorney. I've actually been on a panel in Gainesville, Florida with your attorney. So I'm replying to all, and your attorney can simply send me back something that says, Michael, this is a formal takedown notice. This person has no legal right to, no ownership of this music, no control over this copyright or the master. And I'll bet you there was a sticky situation there. I'll bet you anything that maybe the lady wrote it, but maybe the guy had the studio and produced the tracks. So that's why he felt he had a right to it. But Taxi is not the Supreme Court of music. We're just people that have, and we're not even like SoundCloud or Spotify. It's not like we're selling the music and somebody is making money from it that shouldn't be. And neither of them were current Taxi members. So it's not like the stuff was being submitted anymore to listings. So anyway, I replied all, knowing that the attorney would know who I was, and said, just send me anything that makes it legit and we're happy to comply. Never heard from the attorney. My guess is possibly, again, not casting any asparagus, as John Brahaney used to say, maybe she just found a music attorney's name and copied him on the email, like, saber rattling to scare me. Oh, I'll take it down now because you've scared me. And I never heard from the attorney, never heard from her again, other than a short email saying, no, I wasn't being heavy-handed. I'm sorry you took it that way. So there you go. That's one. And then this morning we had another one. I think we had a third one not that long ago. And gender is not important. I think the one today was a couple of guys that were probably in a band together years ago. Again, neither of them are current members. The music was not selected to be public, so it's not like the public could hear it or see that it was up there. They had unchecked the public box. But but it puts us in a weird position, especially if it were a current taxi member. We'd like to take care of our people the best we can. And when somebody says, please take down the music, we need something that lets us know that they own and control all that, and that the other person who has put it up there. My guess is these people were in a band some years ago. Again, we don't know who claims ownership of the master. We know that the person who reached out to us today claimed ownership of the copyright or the composition. But man, oh man. So topic idea: musicians starting LLCs. I could address some of that, Terrell, but not a lot of it because I'm not a music attorney. And frankly, I don't know that you need an LLC. Do you know? At least in California, I'm not sure if this is a federal law or a state law, but I just started another little company, tiny little company, but wanted to put it under the umbrella of an LLC or an S Corp. And by filing it as an LLC, you have to pay $800 a year in taxes. Whether you're making money or losing money, doesn't matter. As long as that LLC is registered, you pay $800. And sadly, registered that LLC or created the LLC like probably around Christmas time. Unfortunately, I had to pay the $800 for the year 2020. You would think they'd give everybody the year 2020 off. It's like, nope, sorry, you don't have to pay that. JP's got an LLC, not worth the dollars. Well, it is if you get sued, but here's something I know. And again, this is not legal advice. This is only for entertainment purposes only. And I only know this information because I've been through a lawsuit or two over the years. Do you know, you think that a corporation like an S Corp or a C Corp or an LLC provides you ultimate protection should the company get sued? Let's say that you created a piece of music and completely innocently, it sounds remarkably close to something else, and somebody finds an attorney and goes, oh yeah, we got a slam dunk case. The funny thing is they'd probably sue you over like an instrumental cue that might generate, $438 over its lifetime. But anyway, a lot of lawyers don't know what instrumental cues generates, and they get all excited by stuff like that. Anyway, so what do they call it? Piercing the veil, the corporate veil. An LLC or a corporation, yes, limited liability company. It's like a corporation. Like when you see Inc. after something, LLC is similar. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't explain the fine points to you. But I can tell you that, let's say you set up an S Corp, a C Corp, an LLC. And again, I'm not an attorney and I'm not an accountant and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a person who's had some experiences. And you use your company credit card to rent a jet ski while you're on vacation. And you go, well, we talked a little business over breakfast this morning, and you rent the jet ski. And so if you have personal expenses that you are running through your company vis-a-vis the credit card, which makes things traceable, trackable, accountable, that is enough to let opposing counsel pierce the corporate veil. So in other words, if you've done that, then anything having the corporation or the LLC would protect you from in a lawsuit, like them coming after your personal assets like your house or your bank account or anything else, they will go to court and make a case to pierce the corporate veil, because if they've got any evidence that you have used the company for personal expenses, or if you hire a disproportionate amount of family members and it looks like the company is set up really just as kind of a bank for family members. So be careful, know what you're doing. Even when you think you're doing stuff, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, luckily, in my case, none of that came to pass, but I did find out that it was a thing from attorneys. And scummy lawyers will try anything. Um, in Australia, it's called a proprietary limited company, so a PLC. Um, yeah, I've never completely Roman Toilet LLC. Yeah, let's go back. For those of you who arrived late, if you've never seen a 2,000-year-old Roman toilet, that's what it looked like. It was a public affair where everybody sat next to everybody. You just sling a cheek on each side of those little parking stone thingies and do your business. Doesn't matter who's walking by or who you're sitting next to. Could you imagine the odor? Maybe somebody got paid to come and scoop it out with a shovel and throw it somewhere. I don't know, and splash a bucket of water up it. I would imagine that was a pretty stinky place right there. No writing on the wall. No, you're right. Then again, maybe they, jet sprayed it or got it off. What do they use to get? I think you can use WD-40 and other things that are like solvent / oil combos, and you spray those on the wall, then take a scrub brush and then hit it with a power washer, I think. No P writing on the wall. No, there's definitely P writing. Okay, so let's go back to the studio now. And here we are, beautiful Westlake Recording Studios in Hollywood, California. So, there you go. What else do you want to talk about today? I can't think of anything else. I know what I wanted to say. Thank you to you guys. Andre, I think, and somebody else requested that I get Stephen Baird on the show. So Stephen, I just finally connected this morning, and yes, he will be on the show on Monday on regular Taxi TV, 4 o'clock, right here on this channel. For those of you who don't know Steve Baird and are wondering, why is that important? I met Stephen Baird at a road rally some years ago. He was this skinny young man, just full of energy and determination, and he was wearing kind of a Kermit the Frog green t-shirt that said carries no cash. And I came to find out he did carry no cash because he was just a broke young man. And he said, I am going to make it in this business. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's a serious guy, but just like a sweetheart of a guy. But he's very serious. When he decides to do something, man, it's like straight ahead focus. And here we are, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later. And I don't know his exact finances, but I think it's safe to say he's a member of the 6-figure Composer Club. And so I'm going to ask him. I've had him on the show, I think, twice before. Once with Chuck Henry, maybe twice with Chuck Henry, maybe with Matt Vanderbo. This will be the only time that I've ever had Steve on the show as a solo, I think. So I'm excited, and we'll talk about stuff we've talked about before, for just because it's a newer, updated version. But like what was the first thing he did when he decided that he wanted to pursue doing, I think he does mostly instrumental music. He also is quite expert at doing EDM. And we're going to pick his brain. So if you guys would be so kind as to any questions that you think you're going to have, would you write some down in advance? And Liz will start something on social media that you guys can respond to. What would you like to ask Stephen Baird on Monday's Taxi TV? And I will look at that stuff and ask him as many of the pertinent questions as we can. Green screen is so cool. How much did it cost? This one was fairly pricey, certainly not top of the line. It was one of the pricier ones of the cheap ones, if that makes any sense. I want to say it was like $187. I could be off with tax. There was no shipping on it. I think I ordered it through Amazon. The cool thing about this one, which I can't show you very easily, is you can buy one that pops up like on a movie screen stand, like when you were a kid, and your parents showed the 8mm stuff, or in class when you were in school, they had the screen that popped up and had like the tripod stand down below it. You can buy those really inexpensively. I saw some of those that range kind of like $39 to $69 maybe. And then a step up from that are ones that hang from a ceiling or attached to the wall and pull down, like a pull down map would do, or a periodic chart in school. If you ever took chemistry and they had a periodic chart, my only experience with a periodic chart is watching Breaking Bad. And then I was going to get one, but I needed a pretty big one for when I have guests, because here, as you'll see, if I go to this one, I believe is like 84 inches, so it's 7 feet wide. I needed a wide one. It's hard to find them that wide. And I needed one that was fairly tall as well. So I started worrying when they were getting up to 12 and 15 pounds to get the kind that pulled down from the ceiling. I've got like ceiling tiles in here with the crossbars, and I was a little worried that the crossbars may not hold 12 to 15 pounds. So I found this one, which is contained in like a metal case. Almost looks like you were carrying, like speaker sticks or something, in this long metal case that's roughly 5 or 6 inches this way, about 3 or 4 inches deep. You flip the lid open on it, and then there's a handle, and you just pull this thing. Here, I will give you a demonstration. I'm so proud of this thing. I spent hours researching it. Yeah, you don't get to look at the grandkids anymore. Isn't that cool? So it's got these little crisscrossy things that, like scissor up and scissor down, and somewhere in there's some sort of like little pneumatic thing that makes it happen. Yep, so here, you know what? I shall look it up because we've got nothing but time today. I'm going to look it up on Amazon right now and tell you what I paid for that little beauty. I'm so proud of. Oh, come on. Amazon's got to be alive. There we go. Let's see, view your item. This is the eMart 77 inch by 92 inch collapsible chroma key panel green screen for photo and video backup. Portable pull-up. Where's the price? Well, let me go view product details. Okay. Man, Amazon is just crawling today. I got it cheap. Now it's up to $199.99. They make a 61 by 72 inch. It's $140. But I think I want to say I got mine for like $186 plus tax or something like that. I don't believe it was $199. Maybe I'm wrong. By the way, if you've never used Honey, it's like an add-on to Amazon. Somebody turned me on to this some time ago. If you're on Amazon and you just search for Honey, I don't know if they own it or what, but it searches the best price on Amazon for you, and you can tag something so it will monitor the price. So you'll get alerts. Let's say you're looking at a book that's $29.95. 1 day later to months later or a year later, you might get a little notification that says, Honey just found your book for $21.99. So there you go. Scott Hansen's wife turned him on to Honey. I know there's a joke in there, but I'm leaving it alone. Yeah, Zoom does have virtual backgrounds. I was actually on a Zoom with an attorney about an hour before I did this show today, And I use the green screen and the same situation that I've got going on here, the same view that I've got going on here. I'm using Wirecast to broadcast Taxi TV, although I am looking a little yellow again today. I've got to adjust my color again. But what was I going to say? Oh, that the green screen situation in Zoom is not nearly as good as the technology is here. I mean, I could see like a little green halo around myself, and without like if I moved at all, all of a sudden weird stuff would happen. Whereas this looks pretty convincing, gotta say. Dan Weber says, I have a few tracks in Israel. What kind of TV programs do they have there? Oh, that's easy, Dan. They have Israeli ones. They have a lot of American TV there. They have Israeli TV. Remember the show Homeland on Showtime, which was an A-plus TV show? I watched every episode over the years. That started out in Israel. It was called Hatufim, which I want to say means hostage or something like that. So the basic idea for the show first aired, I think they aired 2 seasons over there, and after the first season they adapted it for America, and it became a different show, but some of the Israelis involved were there. Still involved in it, but much less like action and violence oriented, more psychological. It was more about the effects of being a hostage or a captive for many, many years when the guy got home, which part of the American version, but the American version didn't belabor that point as much, only for a lot of the first season, then they kind of got away from it. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Oh, there's a show, if you haven't seen it, there's a show called Fauda, F-A-U-D-A, which is on Netflix, I believe. And that also is another Israeli show. If you want to understand Israeli television, watch Fauda. The English dubbed version of season 1 was a little clunky. It kind of made it a little bit not hard to watch, but just not awesome. So we watched the whole first season with subtitles. I think that they've done 2 seasons or 3 now. Anyway, the show, it's one of those shows keeps getting better and better. But that's, I think, a pretty good representation of what Israeli television feels like. It's funny, I was reading something this morning in Variety or one of the industry trades, and they were talking about there are many, many shows coming. Turkey and Israel in particular are cranking out really good TV shows. Turkey's kind of famous for its soap opera stuff, believe it or not. I know Americans that have no connection to Turkey whatsoever that watch Turkish soap operas because they say they're so good, even with subtitles or English dubbing. But yeah, the gist of the thing I was reading was that there are great TV shows that don't feel American but somehow appeal to an American audience coming out of other countries, primarily Turkey and Israel. Fauda is pretty violent, if that's what you're referring to, Marion. I like a good shootout every now and then. And please don't comment on this, Dan, because it's not only taxi members that will see this, but if you got stuff signed with the company that I believe you got signed with, the placements won't only take place in Israel. We've had reports, and quite a few actually, in the last 3 months or 6 months from members that have gotten placements in countries all over Europe and other parts of the world as a result of being affiliated with that catalog. Every American's dream. Oh, every American's been caught watching General Hospital. Not this American. I'm thinking of a different show. Homeland Security? No, there's a show called Homeland, which was on Showtime for 7 or 8 years, I believe. That was pretty violent. Really good spy show, really good CIA show. But it started out with the whole concept behind it was an American captured by Taliban or something like that and was held hostage and then finally came back to America. So it's about his adjusting to life with his family. He was gone for a number of years. I don't want to go give it away, but yeah, both Hatufim, Hatufim, I believe, and Fauda, which I think are both on Netflix. Both Israeli shows, really, really good. And then the American version of Hatufim, Homeland, just Homeland, no Homeland Security. Really, really, really good. Okay, that's the one you saw. Yeah, there are some episodes that are just really, really violent. Like there's one where the American embassy in Kabul just gets shot up by a bunch of bad guys. That's a little hard to watch. Fauda could be pretty violent too. Might there be an episode? I don't even want to say it. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away. Get closer to the camera. I'm fuzzy. Am I less fuzzy now? Wow, Fauda got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I've found that watching comedies from almost even English-speaking countries like Australia or Great Britain, even Canadian, American humor is kind of its own thing. Every country, I believe that the jokes that might be hysterical in one country don't work so well in another. But you know what does? Music, the international language. Wow, Pat Wara must have gone to the Peter Rahill School of Comedy. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Where can you listen to Stephen Baird's music before Monday's broadcast? My guess would be try SoundCloud. Try StephenBaird.com. Oh, search him. Oh, Lamar, thank you, by the way. Lamar, come on, Hanson, keep it clean. We've got kids in here. Lamar sent a link to member services at taxi.com for archived issues of Recording Engineer Producer magazine, of which I would get the occasional mention in, for working on this record or that record. They have kind of like the Southeast region, these are the sessions going on at these studios with these engineers or producers. So I don't know, maybe had 5 or 6 mentions in there for that stuff. But most importantly, there was a full-page article that I wrote, which was the first time I ever wrote anything for the public. The people at Recording Engineer Producer reached out to me. At that point, I had mostly quit making records. I'd moved to New York and became the studio manager and engineer of a facility called Howard Schwartz Recording, which then eventually became HSR/NY. It was the preeminent post-production facility, probably a post-production audio facility, probably anywhere in the world at that time, certainly in the United States. And I was there for 5.5 years and loved pretty much every minute of it. At one point, my boss met a girl on the Staten Island ferry one night. They fell in love. They got on a plane the next morning and flew to France, I believe. And he rented a Porsche Cabriolet and didn't come home for like a year or so or something ridiculous. And while he was gone, I added 2 new studios to the facility. I think when I got there, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 studios. And when I left, it was 6. And eventually it became like 9 different studios under one roof. They could do anything from like up to 30 pieces of instrumentation for a live record, tons of mixing to picture. We did a lot of stuff for CBS Sports. Remember Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach, all that stuff, all the audio post for that happened there. just all kinds of stuff. And anyway, so Lamar sent a link, and I actually found an article I wrote for Recording Engineer Producer magazine. This was so long ago. It was 1988. I had never touched a computer yet. And I wrote the article on a legal pad with a pen and was scratching out words and whiting stuff out and submitted it to the editor of REP like that. And they were like fine with it. What do I need equipment-wise to participate in Zoom open mics that will avoid all the typical freezing screens, music cutting in and out, etc.? Are you talking about as a viewer, Nancy, or are you talking about as the broadcaster? Watch Ted Lasso. Okay, is that on Netflix or Paramount Network or Amazon Prime? Ooh, Michael Bruce Miller does webcasting, web conferencing for a living. Man, you would have loved the setup for the Taxi Road Rally. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Lamar. I haven't seen that article since 1988, I don't believe. I don't know if you bothered to read it or not, but I got to say I'm a little proud of it. It was pretty good. Okay, Nancy, if you would be performing, one of the most important things that nobody seems to know about is it's all about your upload speed. And first of all, you have to have a reasonably good computer. You don't need a state-of-the-art, very recent computer, but something that's got decent RAM in it, like 8 gigs of RAM in a relatively fast processor. You'd be smart to buy yourself a decent webcam. Don't try and use the built-in camera if you've got like a Mac laptop. They're not that good. I always wondered why they cheaped out on that. Trying to keep costs down, but yet they're expensive anyway. I'm trying to think. The webcam I've got was like a $200 one, and frankly, it's a little bit of overkill because, as it turns out, the one I had before it that was like $79 worked just as well. Logitech C920, I believe, was the number on that one. So check that out on Amazon. Should be relatively inexpensive, and that's really all you need. So Logitech C920, a reasonably decent computer, but what you need is good upload speed. A lot of people will have like a DSL line at home that's maybe, 20, 30, 40 megs down, which is fine for streaming TV shows and doing what you normally do, watching some YouTube on your laptop. But they might only have, did I say megs? kbps, kilobaud per second, actually. But what you want is good upload speed. And from everything that I've read, you really need like 6K going up. Especially, like I'm using Wirecast, and to bring in another guest, I had to have a minimum of 6, but that really wasn't cutting it for me. So now I'm at like 12 to 15 going up. But the more people you add with Wirecast, the more it requires your upload speed. On Zoom, I'm not entirely sure. Michael Bruce Miller could probably tell you better than I. Yeah, Michael said any computer from the last 5 years can handle it. I would say that sounds right. Yeah, if the screen kept saying your bandwidth is weak, believe the screen. Yep, Michael says 5. I was saying 5 megabytes per second going up. Up is important, not kbps, mpbs. I'm confused. Michael L., you have only one stream going up to YouTube. Um, yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Yes, we use Wirecast, latest version of Wirecast, not the pro version, but like the next version down. Not the cheapo one. We've got like the middle version. And yes, I'm trying to think. Wow, your current upload is 0.41. Well, that explains so much. Wirecast does rock. I forget what the guy, I hired a pro to do the road rally, and he said, I've outgrown Wirecast, and whatever he brought, which I can't remember the name of, I'd recognize if you told me, was more sophisticated. Wirecast is pretty pro, though. I mean, really, if you've got the pro version of Wirecast, you can broadcast like real stuff. I mean, look at this. Does it get any more real, folks? I mean, really. No, Marion, you should definitely not try and live stream. Seriously, you'd be better off with a tin can and a string, I believe. And your download is 2.79. That's probably why you have all the buffering, too. Yeah, you've got really, Marion, I love you dearly, but you've got bad numbers over there, lady. Yeah, Wirecast is good stuff. Yeah, you've got ADSL, which is something synchronous line. I forget. Wow, you've got a gigabit up and down. Holy smokes. Yeah, I don't have amazing speeds here. No, it wasn't Social Live. Just jumping in now to say hi. Had a brutally unproductive week. Oh, man. Yes, also, that's another great tip from Pedro. Avoid Wi-Fi. Seriously, I jack into Ethernet whenever I'm broadcasting. It really does make like a 20% improvement easily. Sometimes I just want to hang out in the chat and like do this rather than actually try and put on a show. I'm trying to think of any other brilliant observations that I've come out with. You should read a little bit about things like, white balance. Like today, I spent a considerable amount of time, because yesterday was the first time I broadcast with the green screen, and I thought my skin color was a little yellow, a little greenish looking, so I played around with the contrast and the gamma and the brightness and the hue and all that stuff today, and I thought I had it dialed in really well. Let's see if it changes when I do that. No. Thought I had it dialed in really well, but hey, Michael Bruce Miller, this is what you do for a living. How's my skin tone? Does it look a little green to you? You guys are the show a lot of times. Oh man, I misread that, Greg. I thought you said your heart stopped functioning in the studio. Scared the crap out of me. Glad it was only your heater. There's only a slight green glow. I'm not talking about like green screen stuff. I'm talking about my skin tone. Or are you talking about my skin tone as well? Oh, you see it in my cheeks. Yeah, like right there. Yeah, it's funny. I had adjusted everything for this show, and then had to jump off of that project and jump on to the powwow with the attorney on Zoom. And when I came on, I was like cranberry red, almost purple looking. So somehow, whatever I was doing, which makes no sense at all, whatever I was adjusting in the Wirecast program, somehow affected what was happening to me when I green screened in Zoom. Here, let me see. Do I still have the green if I go to my backyard? Yeah, pretty much the same, right? Or if I go to a shot with a dark background. It's so hard getting the hue. I mean, literally, I was moving the mouse like by hairs. Can we call the hotel now and request a room for the road rally? Nope. Trust me, the road rally rooms will not be sold out this year. I don't think you've got anything to worry about, Alex. Pedro looks fine to me, and I'm slightly colorblind. My dad is actually colorblind. An olive complexion. Yeah, there you go. Bye, Carrie. I've got my two front lamps. I've got about a 20-inch ring light that's about 6 feet away from me. That's on 5600K. That's as cool as the temperature gets there. And then I've got about 8-inch ring light that's an arm length away from me. And that also is set at 56K. And I tried something new yesterday and today, which seems to be working fairly well. I normally don't turn on the fluorescent lights in my office. I've got two big honking, like spotlights or floodlights, spotlights that flood my desk. I've got an old dining room table I use as a desk that's probably about 7 or 8 feet this away. And I just bathe that in light and get really good light on whatever I'm working on. However, it does give me kind of a red glow, so I turn those off. And now I've got half the fluorescence in my ceiling turned on to brighten up the green screen, so I get good definition there, and that seems to be working pretty well. Yeah, my color temperature on those babies is as cool as it gets, and I'm not meaning cool like, man, that's cool. I mean like cool. Yeah, I know. I normally wouldn't use fluorescents, but I just turned them on just to say, wonder what happened, and it worked. Although with here, I'll show you what it looks like without the fluorescents. Yeah, if you're going really pro, you should light up your green screen. You should actually bathe the green screen in light. And I didn't want to do that till I knew that I had to do it. Did it make much of a difference when I killed the fluorescence? I look more yellowy green now. Here, I can... here, this is fun. I can use, that is slightly warmer. That's probably around 4K. And this is, oops, that's 2700. And that's very sexy, right? I look like a model now. Oh, man. So here, let's try the not so hot. There's 56K. And there's, I don't know, somewhere around 4K, 4200. It's funny, Bria and Ariana were constantly. I would try and get my skin tone to look like TV skin tone. They're so used to watching people on YouTube that almost always I find are overly lit, have a lot of hot spots, which I'm getting right now. The sexy setting was best. Thanks, Nancy. Get a room, lady. This is I look very cool, but I don't know what to believe anymore, quite frankly. Here, let me go back to my normal. So how does that look? That is, I've got a diffuser. I've actually got a softbox. I know the 4K looks warmer. I'm just wondering, is it too warm? And I've got some spun floating around somewhere. And both of my ring lights both have diffusers on them. But yeah, I am not a fan of being like well lit. Wow, look at what a difference that made. Yeah, I should wear a green t-shirt. That would be funny. I've actually got a green screen t-shirt. I was thinking about wearing, they sell green screen bodysuits that have, like a hood, and then you put makeup on your face so you can become the Invisible Man. Yeah, one is hotter than the other. Absolutely. I can do all kinds of stuff. There it is with no light whatsoever. Twilight Zone. So here's my 3 temperature settings on the small ring light. There's the coolest, the mid-level, and the warmest. The warmest is pretty orange coming off the light. Reflection shiny on face. Look, damn it, I put my makeup on. I tried to degrease myself before the show. But yeah, it's amazing. Both Ariana and Bria are like, they just wanted me, oh yeah, it looks great like that. And I thought I looked totally washed out and lots of hot spots and stuff. Then I realized all the people that they watch on YouTube kind of look like that. So I don't know what to think anymore. Anyway, yep, I got to run too. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out. It was fun. At least it was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. And don't forget to hit the alert thing if you haven't. Give us a like if you haven't. Subscribe if you have. Check this out. Remember that? The subscribe sign. Awesome, huh? And I will see you guys right back here on Monday, 4 o'clock with Stephen Baird. Don't forget to send your questions. Liz will post something. Watch our social media, our Instagram, our Twitter, and our Facebook, and she will tell you how to post questions. And that's that. Have a great weekend, you guys. Adios from Taxi World headquarters in beautiful Calabasas, California.